All right, so good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Richards for those that are watching the playback, and I'm a growth coach, and I'm here to really forward you tonight. Our series has been on building the life that you really love in 2023 and taking action in areas where you feel like you might be a little bit stuck. So I'm going to kind of share my screen here really quick, and we are going to talk a little bit about what we've been covering up to this point. And oh, it doesn't let me do that. Sorry, guys. Let me make sure you can see it this time. I know I had trouble last time. All right. So hopefully you can see this. Yeah? Good. Okay. Awesome. So what are we really talking about? The last couple of weeks, we've been talking about self-reflection. You guys have been doing a lot of self-reflection. That can be scary to look at yourself. One of the scariest questions to ask others, right, is how do you experience me? Like, have you guys ever asked that question of the people that you love the most? How do you experience me, right? That can be such a, like, if you want to really grow this year, ask people that you care about that question and tell them, don't clean it up. I'm trying to grow. Like, I want to grow, and I don't want you to like injure me with too much, right? But how do you experience me? And the reason why I'm asking that in light of this quote is because sometimes we need people that love us a whole lot to say, sometimes I experience you as being very critical. And you're like, oh my gosh, right? So you can choose to work on it in 2023 and say, wow, the people that I love, they say that I'm critical, or they say that I'm moody, or they say that I'm, whatever it is. I want to challenge you to ask that question of someone in the next 7 days, because it's a scary question, but remember, it's necessary for growth. Like, how do you experience me? And it's just a powerful question. We've talked about what we're going to create, right? We've just kind of recapping what versions of you have you been putting together for different circles that just are exhausting, and how do you just get to be yourself, the self that wants growth and is not fighting the old, she's creating the new. It's not about managing all of our disappointments in life. It's about creating something new. And if we're at the center, then that means no one can lead our life but us, right? Other than, right, your faith. I have faith that God is leading me a lot. You guys get the idea. Tonight, we're going to recap our series, talk a little bit about getting clear on some things, especially as we're wrapping up. We're letting go of avoidance-based living. Oh, I just don't want this to happen. I hope I don't get laid off. I hope I don't gain any more weight. I hope all these bad things don't happen, right? And we're realizing motivation is not the key, but our view of self and coming into integrity. We have to become bigger in 2023. You might want to write that down. If I'm up to big things, I have to become bigger, right? I'm going to stop our share because I just want to make sure no one's locked out of the room. Okay, no, we're good. So you're going to become bigger in this year. That means, right, that's going to require some discomfort. We've talked about that. So, okay, let me go ahead and get back to that. There we go. Where do you see the gap? What discomfort are you avoiding? These are just some of the questions we've asked before. My favorite one is, what lie is driving the bus? If you have a lie of I'm not worthy, then that's the lie that could have been driving your bus. I'm just not worthy of a healthy relationship. I'm just, this is what I get, we have to address that lie before we can go any further. And we've named our roommate. We know that she's full of lies and comparison and all the things that keep us stuck. And we can start to recognize that voice and not listen, right? Like I said last week, you've always had a massive say in your life. You've always had a massive say. And if we don't believe that, then it's going to be hard to change our 2023 because we're going to believe that somebody else has the controls in our life, right? In terms of how we show up. So we talked about relationships. There might be some things that you need to let go of. There might have been some things that you need to forgive because you're not going to carry them into a new year. They're not going to serve you. We're going to need to identify relationships that drain us and deplete us. We got to look out for resentment leaking into our future because we haven't contained it and let it go and have a place to flow out, right? These are the things that when people say, I want to grow as a growth coach, I got to look out for these things. Do you have unforgiveness anywhere? You know, all the things that we've really talked about in this series, okay? Sorry that I have to get out. It's just that when people come back in the room, I have to go back to the PowerPoint. All right, so that should kind of refresh you on everything. What I want to know tonight, though, because we're wrapping up, and this is going to be our work for tonight. We as humans get in trouble when we try to change too many things. That's when we get in big trouble and we go into paralysis. So I would like to know in 2023, what is one area of your health that you're going to hone in on? Like really, really hone in on and develop some muscle in that area. You're going to expect discomfort in that area because muscles always require discomfort. So you're going to welcome it because you're like, that's going to be the evidence of me going somewhere new. And we're going to pick one. So with those of you that are on the line tonight that are here, identify, look at this right now and say, is it my job that needs to be healthier? Is it my spiritual health? Is it my family health? Is it my financial health? Is it my actual physical health? My mental health? My social health? And just pick one this evening that we can really hone in on. So if you guys have got that picked out, and then rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is there's no room for improvement, so I don't use 10 usually. We should have just put 1 through 9. And 1 is like, oh my gosh, it's a mess. So pick one and rate it. Where are you now with that area of well-being? Okay, so like for me, I would like to really I am working on my spiritual health. I am working on my spiritual health. It needed attention. It needed focus. It needed intention, focus, action, sacrifice. I needed a routine. I needed cues. I needed accountability. I was getting to the point where I felt like I had dry bones, spiritually speaking. Okay. So that's mine that I'm working on for 2023 is my spiritual health being better than it was in 2022. And what's scary is sometimes when all those other things are working really well, you can kind of feel like, I got it, right? And I don't want to have a I got it spiritual health. So that's just me. What are you guys working on? Who wants to share one that you're picking, where you're at, and what your goal is for that? If anybody wants to just come off mute and share, that would be awesome. Hopefully you guys can unmute yourself.
Okay, I'll start, I guess. So I put it in the chat, but for me, because I'm working on the other areas, but the one that I am really honing in on this year is going to be my physical health. That I rated myself at about a 2 because I've been very inconsistent over the years and I haven't done nearly enough to put my body in optimal physical strength where it could and should be. So that's, you talked about being uncomfortable, the growing pains of all that. That's the process that I'm going to be working through for myself.
Okay, awesome. I wrote that down. We're going to do some work on that here in just a minute. This will get really interactive with that. Anyone else want to share just what you've picked and where you're at with it right now? Like, okay, I picked this and I'm at a 3 or a 6.
Okay, well, I did social and I said I rated myself at a 3, and
Okay.
I'm trying to be more confident. I don't like asking people for things. Like, I think I'm bugging them all the time. I don't like to pick up the phone, like, oh, they're probably busy. They don't want to talk to me. I'm like that. And I always wait to be invited somewhere. Like, I don't call people and say, hey, let's go here. I wait for somebody to call me. And then I struggle just to get out the door. Once I accept the invitation, then I second guess myself all the time. Like, did I really want to go? Maybe I don't want to go, but, and usually when I go, and then I have a great time, but that's my struggle.
Thank you. That is so good. Okay, so we're going to put some energy, intention, focus around social health. Also, this is a time where, believe it or not, a lot of my clients are struggling with this because of COVID, right? Because we had a time where we had to be mindful, or things socially were shut down. We got used to being at home. We got used to being in our jammies and our sweats and our comfies and our good food. And it was just easier to be like, I don't want to go out. It's cold. Like we got into a rut. As well, socially, a lot of people are claiming that they fell into a little bit of a rut with coming out of COVID. So that's interesting. Now, were you always like that, Gina, or is this new? Like, is that something that you've been your whole life, or you're like, no, this is new?
This actually started with my first marriage, because he always would tell me, my friends don't like you, and stuff like that. So that's kind of where it came from. Like, when I was in high school, I was a social butterfly.
Okay.
It was fine. But once that first marriage, he kind of started the whole trend of, I'm not worthy. And then the last relationship I was in was even worse. Like, it was, because he isolated me from everybody by telling me that they didn't care about me, and that he was the only one that cared about me, and everything. So it's I'm getting better. But
Good for you. Yeah, I'm so glad that you can recognize that toxicity and know that is not true, and that your default setting, your origin, a lot of growth work is coming back to who you are. So it's coming back to who you are. And you, by nature, before the world got a hold of you, right?
mhm,
A social butterfly. You're energized
yes,
being around people. You like
yeah,
being around people. So
mhm,
there's been a lie that has been driving the bus and the behaviors. It's been identified, so it loses power when you can call it out. And now we can work back to getting Gina back to who she really is and always was, which is she likes social, right?
mhm,
She likes putting herself out there. She likes being around people.
mhm.
And that's what we're going to get back to. So thank you. That's so good. Nicole, and then we'll get into like the action work around the area. Nicole?
So yeah, I don't know. Emotional health isn't on there, but I'm imagining the mental slash emotional health. I made a lot of progress over the years, and dealing with the disappointment of other people disappointing me. That, to me, I was able to do that and let go of that. But now it's the same. The issue with disappointed Debbie, my own disappointment in myself, in dealing with that. So I guess my emotional health would be what
Yeah.
I'm want to work on.
Great. Yeah. Under mental health in the context of growth coaching, because again, not um, a counselor, not a therapist, not a pastor. In the context of mental health, what we look at in growth coaching is equanimity. Is, hey, yeah, I see these things happening around me. I realize what she just said, or what this guy just did in his car to me, with the F sign or whatever. And we're like, I see all this stuff around me, and I know it's there, but it's not affecting me. I have emotional stability in places and spaces that may not be encouraging, right? So what we're building for you is equanimity. Is like, I know things are happening around me that usually knock me off my horse, but I'm becoming agile, less fragile. I'm being curious about why they're doing it, not critical of them. Like I'm curious, like I wonder why they yell, like when they get upset, right? If you can move to curiosity, you can almost put a bulletproof vest on. It's a great buffer to go, that's this is my phrase that reminds me to have equanimity. When I see someone behaving really poorly towards me or saying something, my first line to give myself space is, that's interesting. I say, wow, that's interesting that they're so upset, or that they believe this or that. That's very interesting. Now, when I say that's interesting, why do I do that? Because it allows me to go to curious. I wonder if they had like a really bad day at work. I wonder if they're hungry. I wonder if something happened before we got together. Like, I don't have to be critical. I get to say, that's interesting. And then that reminds me to be curious and not condemning or critical. Why am I saying that? Because remember, there's what happens to us, and then there's the meaning that we make. And the thing that hurts us the most and keeps us from growing is the meaning that we make it mean. Like that's been a big breakthrough for me in my spiritual health, my mental health, even my physical health, because I was an emotional eater. So emotional eaters need equanimity because we will go to the pantry when we're upset. So this was very important for me to learn, like, hold on, that's interesting. I wonder what's happening with them. And then you can even take it a step further and apply best intentions. And that's another stretch. So your pivots, and I'm going to get to everyone else's, kind of work it backwards, is that's interesting. I'm curious what's happening here. I need more information because I'm about to make up a story. And whatever I make up is going to hurt me more than the person's actions. I'm going to make it mean something. And anytime I make it something, does that make sense? Like,
yeah, does that apply to yourself? Because I'm like, it's more now about my own disappointment in myself. You know, whether it be not following through with action and, you know, those things.
Yes, definitely it does, but there's some kind of trigger that could belong to someone else, meaning this is where you get to do some work and go, when was the first time I started feeling critical of myself? And then, was there an earlier time? I wonder if there was an earlier time. And an earlier time, when I did that kind of work, like with my husband, he would do something and it would make me go 0 to 60, right? Well, I had triggers that didn't belong to him, okay? So when he did something that resembled something that was way back there that meant more to me, obviously it hurt me. And so if you're critical of self, there is a good chance that that you may have had critical environments, or that you may need to forgive some of that. That mistakes were not allowed. They weren't looked at as learning. They were looked at as like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that, right? Or yes, so you got to do a little bit of forgiveness work so that you can realize, you know what, this is me doing it to me now, but for a while it was done, and then this is how I behave. And that's not always true. I do want to say that. There's things that I do that my mom and dad or my family never did to me. I just do them because I'm me and I'm sinful. So I don't want to say always, but there is times, it could even be a coach, a teacher when you were young that made, I had a growth session this week with someone, and she said, I, in kindergarten, had someone come up behind me, my teacher, and I couldn't figure out a word problem. And she shook my shoulders and said, why are you not getting this? And so now she hates numbers. So when we do business coaching, she gets anxious because she remembers the, why are you not getting this? Like, so forgiveness work, really looking at that, and then being curious. I wonder why I'm being critical of myself today. I wonder why I'm not giving myself grace. I'm tired. I did a lot. I wonder why. You know what? I probably need to go and meditate. I probably need to go listen to some music that's uplifting. I probably need a break. That's why I'm starting to be critical of myself. You know what? I'm hungry. I need to go eat something and drink water and make a nice glass of tea because I can notice that I'm becoming critical of myself again. So you want to notice it with curiosity, whether it's you or anybody else. Okay. Yeah. So I wonder why I'm not giving myself grace today. Wonder what that's about, you know? So those things may work for you. Really, a lot of it though can be some forgiveness work that has to be done for sure. Okay, and did you have anything else you wanted to add there before we get into the next?
No,
Okay.
no, I think that's it.
Okay, awesome. And let me go ahead and move to our next slide. I wanted to. There we go. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see this. This is what we're gonna do with the area that you chose. Where are you right now? Okay, so if you're like, I'm at a 2 socially, I'm at a 2 equanimity, I'm at a 2 with my physical health and endurance. Where you are right now that's all that it is. It's where you are right now. It's not even that important because it's just a starting point. What is important is where is the GPS headed? Okay, so with no direction for this improvement, we will go nowhere. So we want to put some direction on it and go, I would like to be at a 4 by summer. Okay, this is the thing that gets us all hurt. I'm going to go from a 2 in my equanimity to a 9. No, because that's going to set us up for failure. I'm going to go from a 2 in my physical health and I'm going to do a Ragnar, right? So it's like, this is where we get in trouble. So what kind of progressive work are you going to commit to? If you really want to make some room in this, it's going to take about 12 months of growth work in that one area. Now, I do want to give you some good news. When you pick one area, okay, let me back up a little bit. So if we go to, sorry, there we go. This is where we think it's not enough because we're like, yeah, but there's vocational, spiritual, family. No. Your one good habit is going to lead to another. Okay, so when you focus heavily and intensely on one thing and go, I'm going to move my physical health from a 2 to a 3 this month, and then a 3 to a 4, and a 4 to a 5, and in 12 months, this should be an 8 or a 9, and that will make me very proud of myself. Now, when your physical health is booming, don't forget it will affect your mental health, that those endorphins are real. Don't forget your social health will be impacted because you're gonna wanna go do stuff. You're strong, you look good in your shorts, your legs are toned. You're not afraid of being in a pool. It all touches each other. Every one of these things are interconnected. When you dislike your job, it affects a lot of things, okay? So don't think, oh my gosh, if I just pick one, am I gonna miss out on all the other ones? When you get good at your social health, you're gonna have better financial health. Why? You're gonna meet people that go, hey, Gina, did I tell you that so-and-so is hiring? And then you're like, I'm meeting all these people and they're connecting to what I'm going back to school for. And I'm probably gonna have a job right when I graduate because my social health got me out there. Or I met someone that's actually kind and they're, and now I feel like my financial health is better because of that. So don't fall into the trap that if you focus on one thing and one thing alone for the next 12 months and you get really good at it, that it's not going to impact the rest of your stuff. It is, okay? And then you get to pick another one and another one. And I will tell you, this is where people really grow. And I'm not saying that you can't, like I coach a program that helps people physically, mentally, socially, like it's comprehensive. So there are programs like that, but and I have one, right? It's great. but I see people come in and try to do it all, and then they freeze and they crash and they burn. Okay. So let's go back to this. So where are you? Where's the GPS headed? Who will help you stay accountable? Who are you going to say, hey, listen, Gina, I'm thinking of you right now. You may text someone and go, you know, I want your accountability if you see me turning down invites. You drag my butt out of the house. I give you full permission. Okay. If I'm home on the weekend, I get one day to chill, but the other days, get me out of this house, because it's my tendency to just, I don't want to go. I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to ask anyone. The other thing with social health is, so social health takes you depositing more than you've ever done. Meaning, when I talk to people and they say, oh, people don't invite me anywhere, I get left out a lot. I ask them, how much are you inviting? How much are you coordinating? Because usually if you're not depositing, then they will forget to ask you, because it's like you're not in the scene, right? You know what I mean? So when you want to see your social life get better, be the best at setting up coffee dates or game night at your house. You know what? I'm doing a game night. That's a very tangible thing to say, I'm going to do something every month that I host at my house, and I'm going to be more social. And I'm going to put chips out, and we're doing a game night, bunco, whatever it is. So the last thing is, what supports will you need? When you set a new goal, you're going to need new supports. So it could be, I need to eliminate something to be able to do it. I need to delegate something to be able to do this. Like if I can't get to the gym in the morning because I'm cleaning for 2 hours, I might need a cleaning lady once a month. I might need a support to get me out of the house, because right now I'm drowning and I can't get my workouts in, right? It could be an alarm. It could be an app on your phone, or a workout buddy that you go, hey, listen, on social media, I am going to need a workout buddy. Anybody? This is us asking for supports for our goal. Okay. And then how will you know you're succeeding? How will you measure it? How will you keep score? Not in a critical way, but like literally, maybe Nicole, for you, it's like, you know what? I stopped myself 6 times this month, and I became curious about why I was being critical. And I took a minute and I asked myself questions like, Nicole, like I would ask a friend. Here's you talking to yourself. Nicole, you seem really upset right now. What do you need? Do you need a nap? Do you need a snack? Do you need a hug? Do you need to be reminded of something true, noble? Do you need scripture? What do you need to like you would a friend? You're giving yourself that. Ask yourself, what supports will you need? Okay, so this whole series was just to create consciousness of like, life is happening. I have a big say in what happens. I'm going to focus on one thing. I'm not a victim. I'm going to create something. I was made from a creator. I'm going to create. I'm not going to avoid. And I'm going to take this into accountability and make sure that my GPS is headed towards one thing this year, not 50, because that's when I get in trouble and I don't do anything. Okay. And then part of the supports, hey, there's nothing wrong with counseling. There's nothing wrong with books on the topic of what we're trying to get better at. So that includes your supports there. Okay. And I had so much fun with you guys. I hope that this gave you something that you can take and run with. I'll let you know if I'm going to do something in the spring, like spring cleaning our lives and out with things that don't serve us, you know, stuff like that. I have a heart to do that, and I'll let you guys know. But thank you for joining me and for investing in yourself. I love you all, and I hope you have a great night. Take care.